The call came on a Tuesday evening while Lila sat at the kitchen table, carefully coloring a drawing of her and me in matching purple dresses. "Simone," my sister Denise's voice trembled through the phone. "We need to talk about the wedding." I stirred the pot of gumbo on the stove, phone wedged between my ear and shoulder. "What about it?" "Lila's been practicing her flower girl walk every night. You should see her." "That's the thing." Silence. Heavy, awful silence. Mama said. "Mama thinks it would be better if Lila didn't come to the wedding." The wooden spoon clattered into the pot. "Excuse me?" Lila looked up from her drawing, her brown eyes wide behind her glasses. She'd colored us both with big smiles, holding hands under a rainbow. My heart cracked right down the middle. "It's not me, Simone. You know I love Lila. But Mama's worried about the pictures. She keeps saying the wedding photos should be cohesive, and that Lila would stand out too much." "Stand out?" My voice came out flat dead. "You mean because she's lighter skinned than the rest of us?" "Simone. Because her birth mother was white and I adopted her, suddenly she's not family enough for a photograph?" Lila's little hand froze over the purple crayon. "Mama's old-fashioned," Denise whispered. "You know how she is about certain things. And the wedding is already stressful. David's family is all traditional, and Mama wants everything to look perfect. She said maybe Lila could come to the reception, just not the ceremony or pictures." I closed my eyes. The gumbo bubbled and popped, forgotten. "Let me get this straight. My daughter, your niece, is good enough for the party where people eat and drink, but not good enough to stand in a church or smile in a family photo. Don't make this harder than it is." "Harder?" My voice rose. "Harder for who, Denise? Harder for you? For Mama? What about Lila? She's 8 years old. She's been talking about being your flower girl for 6 months. She drew pictures of the dress you promised her. She practiced throwing petals in the hallway until I had rose petals in every corner of this apartment." Lila's eyes filled with tears. She wasn't even pretending to color anymore. "I'm sorry," Denise said, and she was crying now too. "I tried to talk to her. I really did. But she won't budge, and Daddy agrees with her. He said it's their money paying for the wedding, so it's their decision." "Their decision," I repeated. "And what about your decision, Denise? You're the bride. Don't you get a say in who stands up with you on your wedding day?" The line went quiet except for Denise's ragged breathing. "I can't fight them on this, Simone. I just can't. The wedding is in 3 weeks. Everything is already planned. If I upset Mama now, she'll make the whole day miserable. You know how she gets." "Yeah," I said softly. "I know exactly how she gets." I looked at Lila, who was watching me with those big eyes, already knowing something was wrong, already trying to figure out what she'd done to deserve it. "So what are you asking me to do, Denise? Lie to my daughter? Tell her she can't go to her aunt's wedding because her skin isn't dark enough for the family album? Don't say it like that." "How should I say it? Please explain to me how to tell an 8-year-old that her own grandmother doesn't want her in a picture." Denise sobbed. I don't know, okay? I thought maybe you could tell her you have something else planned that day. Something special, just the two of you. She wouldn't have to know." "No. Simone. No. I'm not lying to protect Mama's feelings or make your wedding day easier. That's my child. My daughter. And I won't teach her to accept being treated like she's less than because it makes other people comfortable. So you're just not coming? You're going to miss my wedding?" I looked at Lila's drawing on the table. 2 stick figures holding hands under a rainbow. Purple dresses. Big smiles. "If Lila's not welcome," I said, my voice steady now, "then I'm not welcome either. We're a package deal, Denise. We always have been. Simone, please. I love you. I really do. But I love my daughter more than I love attending a party where she's been told she doesn't belong. When you find your backbone and stand up to Mama, give me a call. Until then, me and Lila will be just fine on our own." I hung up before she could respond. The kitchen was silent except for the bubbling gumbo and Lila's quiet sniffles. "Baby," I said, turning off the stove and kneeling beside her chair. "Come here." She climbed into my lap, all skinny arms and legs, and pressed her face against my shoulder. Her glasses dug into my collarbone, but I didn't care. "Am I in trouble?" she whispered. "No, baby. No. You didn't do anything wrong. Not one single thing. Then why doesn't Grandma want me at the wedding?" I held her tighter, feeling the fury and heartbreak war inside my chest. How do you explain colorism to an 8-year-old? How do you tell a child that some people, even family, will judge her by the shade of her skin instead of the goodness of her heart? "Sometimes," I said carefully, "people have old ideas in their heads that don't make sense. Ideas about how things should look or who belongs where. And sometimes those ideas hurt people even when we love them. Is it because I don't look like you? The question gutted me. You look exactly like you're supposed to look. You're beautiful and perfect in mine. And anybody who can't see that is missing out on knowing the most amazing little girl in the world. She pulled back to look at me, tears streaming down her cheeks. But I wanted to throw the flowers. I practiced so much. I know, baby. I know you did. And I drew a picture of the dress Aunt Denise showed me. The purple one with the sparkles. It was a beautiful dress. Are we really not going? I wiped her tears with my thumbs, my own eyes burning. Not to that wedding, no. But you know what? We're going to have our own special day. Just you and me and everyone who loves us for real. We're going to have the best day ever, and you're going to wear the prettiest dress, and we're going to celebrate love the right way. The way that includes everybody. Promise? I promise, baby girl. I promise. She hugged me tight and I held her, rocking slightly, feeling the weight of what I'd just done settling on my shoulders. I just told my family I wouldn't attend my sister's wedding. I'd drawn a line in the sand that couldn't be uncrossed. But when I looked at Lila's drawing on the table, those two stick figures holding hands, I knew I'd made the right choice. Some battles you have to fight even when it breaks your heart. Especially when it breaks your heart. My phone started ringing at 6 o'clock the next morning. I ignored the first 3 calls from my mother. By the 4th, Lila was awake anyway, standing in my bedroom doorway rubbing her eyes. Is that Grandma calling? She asked quietly. Yeah, baby. But we don't have to answer right now. The phone went silent, then immediately started ringing again. I picked it up. Simone Elizabeth Carter, have you lost your natural mind? My mother's voice could cut through steel when she wanted it to. This morning she wanted it to. Good morning to you too, Mama. Don't you good morning me? Denise called me last night crying her eyes out. Said you told her you're not coming to the wedding. Over some foolishness about that child. That child. Not Lila. Not your granddaughter. That child. Her name is Lila, Mama. And she's not some foolishness. She's my daughter. That's what I'm talking about right there. You've been acting different ever since you brought that girl home. Like you're better than your own family. Like we don't know what's best. I took a deep breath, watching Lila hover in the doorway. Mama, I'm not doing this right now. Not in front of Lila. Put her in another room then. We need to talk about this situation before you ruin your sister's wedding day. Ruin her wedding day? Mama, do you hear yourself? You told Denise that my daughter can't be in family pictures because she doesn't look right. How is that not ruining something? I said she'd stand out. That's different. The wedding photographer costs $3,000, Simone. $3,000. We're paying for professional photos that are going to hang in our house and be in albums for the rest of our lives. Is it so wrong to want them to look nice? To have everyone match? Match. I felt the word like acid on my tongue. Like furniture. Like decorations. Don't twist my words. You know what I mean. David's family is very particular about appearances. They're church people, traditional people. They expect a certain kind of wedding. And with that child looking so different, people are going to ask questions. They're going to talk. Let them talk. Easy for you to say. You're not the one getting married. Denise has to start her marriage with these people. She needs to make a good impression. I looked at Lila, who was watching me with those big hurting eyes. She could hear every word coming through the phone, even though Mama wasn't on speaker. Kids always hear what we don't want them to hear. Mama, I need to get Lila breakfast and ready for school. We can talk about this later. No, we're talking about it now. You need to call your sister and apologize. Tell her you'll come to the wedding and leave that girl with a sitter for the day. Problem solved. I'm not leaving my daughter with a sitter so she doesn't embarrass you. So you're choosing her over your own family? Over your sister's one wedding day? What kind of sister does that? The kind who won't teach her daughter to accept being treated as less than. The kind who knows that family means everybody, not just the people who look how you want them to look. You're being dramatic and selfish. This is about one day. One single day. But no, you have to make everything about you and your choices. You just had to adopt that child, didn't you? I told you it would cause problems. I told you people would talk. But you never listened to anybody. Something in me went cold and still. Mama, I said quietly, I'm going to hang up now. When you're ready to apologize to Lila for calling her that child, and treating her like she's not your granddaughter, you let me know. Until then, we're done with this conversation. Simone Elizabeth. I ended the call and turned off my phone. Lila was still standing in the doorway, tears running down her face. Oh baby, I said, opening my arms. She ran to me and I held her while she cried into my shoulder. Her little body shook with sobs that seemed too big for someone so small. Grandma doesn't like me, she whispered. Grandma has some things she needs to work out in her heart. That's not about you. That's about her. But she said I'm different. She said I stand out. You do stand out, baby. You stand out because you're special and beautiful and kind. But Grandma meant it in a way that wasn't nice, and that's on her, not you. I wish I looked more like you. The words shattered me. I pulled back and cupped her face in my hands, making her look at me. Don't you ever wish that? Not ever. You are perfect exactly as you are. God made you with this beautiful skin and these beautiful eyes and this beautiful heart. Anyone who can't see how amazing you are is missing out. And that's their loss, baby girl. Their loss, not yours. But I just want Grandma to love me. I know you do. And maybe someday she'll figure out how to love you the way you deserve to be loved. But until then, you've got me. And you've got all the people who do love you, right? That's enough. We're enough. She nodded against my hands, but I could see she didn't quite believe me. How could she? She was 8 years old, and her grandmother had just rejected her for something she couldn't control. Come on, I said, forcing brightness into my voice. Let's get you some breakfast. How about pancakes? The chocolate chip kind? Okay, she said softly. We went to the kitchen and I made pancakes while she sat at the table, quieter than usual. Normally she'd be chattering about school or her latest drawing or the book she was reading. Today she just picked at her food, pushing chocolate chips around her plate. My phone buzzed with texts I didn't read. The doorbell rang twice. I ignored it all. Mama? Lila said after a while. Yeah, baby? Are we really going to have our own special day? Like you promised? I looked at my daughter, my beautiful, hurting daughter, and made a decision. We're not just going to have a special day, I said. We're going to have the best day ever. We're going to throw a party so amazing that everyone will want to be there. And you know what? Everyone who really loves us will come. And the people who don't come? That'll tell us everything we need to know about who they really are. A tiny smile appeared on her face. Like a real party? Like a real party. With a dress and decorations and cake and music. The whole thing. What kind of dress? Whatever kind you want, baby girl. This is your day. Her smile got bigger. Purple? With sparkles? Purple with sparkles and anything else your heart desires. She jumped out of her chair and hugged me so hard I almost spilled my coffee. Thank you, Mama. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I held her close, feeling the weight of what I'd just committed to. I had no idea how I was going to pull off a party in 3 weeks. I had no idea how much it would cost or where we'd have it or who would even come. But I knew one thing for certain. My daughter deserved to feel celebrated and loved and wanted. And if my family wouldn't do it, I'd find people who would. Tasha showed up at my door that evening with Thai food and a bottle of wine. I heard, she said, pushing past me into the apartment. And before you ask, yes, I'm taking your side, and no, you're not crazy. I closed the door behind her, grateful. How did you hear? Girl, your mama called my mama. Apparently the whole church is talking about it. Gloria's been telling everyone you're being ungrateful and difficult. Of course she has. We settled on the couch while Lila watched a movie in her room. Tasha poured 2 generous glasses of wine. So, she said, tell me everything. I did. The whole story came pouring out: Denise's call, Mama's rant, Lila's tears, the promise I'd made. Tasha listened, her lawyer face on, nodding occasionally. When I finished, she leaned back and shook her head. Gloria has officially lost it. And Denise needs to grow a spine. Tasha. No, for real. I love your family, you know I do. But this colorism mess has got to stop. It's 2025. We should be past this. Should be and are 2 different things. True. She took a sip of wine. So this party you promised Lila. You serious about that? Dead serious. I just don't know how I'm going to pull it off. Tasha grinned. Good thing you have a best friend who plans events for fun and has connections all over this city. When's the wedding again? 3 Saturdays from now. Perfect. We'll do your party the same day, same time. Make it clear where your priorities are. That feels petty? Good. Sometimes petty is exactly what's needed. She pulled out her phone. Okay, let's make a list. First, venue. My cousin has that event space on the south side. Holds about 100 people. She owes me a favor, so we can probably get it cheap. I don't know if 100 people will even come. Once Mama spreads her version around church. Let her spread it. The people who matter will show up. Trust me. I wanted to believe her. What about a dress for Lila? Tasha continued. Purple with sparkles, you said? That's what she wants. There's that boutique on Madison Avenue. They do custom work. Might cost you though. I have some savings. This is worth it. Tasha squeezed my hand. You're a good mama, you know that? My eyes burned with tears I refused to let fall. I just want her to know she's loved. That she matters. That she belongs. She does know. And we're going to make sure she feels it. We spent the next 2 hours planning. Tasha made calls, sent texts, pulled in favors. By the time she left, we had a venue booked, a caterer lined up, and a meeting scheduled with the dress boutique for Saturday morning. One more thing, Tasha said at the door. You need to prepare yourself for the possibility that some people won't come. Even people you think should. I know. And you need to be okay with that. This party isn't about proving anything to Gloria or Denise or anyone else. It's about showing Lila that she's worthy of celebration. Remember that when things get hard. After she left, I checked on Lila. She was asleep, curled up with her stuffed bear, her glasses crooked on her face. I took them off gently and pulled the blanket up to her chin. She looked so peaceful. So innocent. She had no idea the storm that was about to come. The next morning, I took Lila to school and then headed to work at the community center. I'd been a social worker there for 8 years, helping families navigate adoption, foster care, and family services. The irony of helping other families while my own fell apart wasn't lost on me. My supervisor, Patricia, called me into her office mid-morning. Close the door, she said. I sat down, already knowing what was coming. Patricia went to my parents' church. Of course she'd heard. I need to know if your personal situation is going to affect your work, she said, not unkindly. It won't. Simone, you're one of our best workers. But if you're dealing with family drama, I'm dealing with it. It's handled. She studied me for a long moment. Is the child okay? Lila. Her name is Lila. And she will be okay because I'm making sure of it. Patricia nodded slowly. For what it's worth, I think your mother is wrong. That child Lila is lucky to have you. The unexpected support made my throat tight. Thank you. Now get back to work. And Simone? If you need time off for party planning, just let me know. I understand sometimes we have to fight for our kids in ways that aren't comfortable. I left her office feeling like maybe, just maybe, I wasn't alone in this. That weekend, I took Lila dress shopping. The boutique was small but beautiful, run by a seamstress named Mrs. Patterson who'd been making dresses for 40 years. She took one look at Lila and smiled. What are we celebrating, sweetheart? Lila looked at me uncertainly. We're celebrating her, I said. Just her being amazing and loved and special. Mrs. Patterson's smile widened. Well, that's the best reason I've ever heard. Come on, let's find you something spectacular. She brought out fabric samples in every shade of purple imaginable. Lila's eyes went wide. All of these? She breathed. All of these. You pick whichever one makes your heart happy. Lila chose a deep plum color with subtle shimmer. Mrs. Patterson sketched a design, a princess-style dress with a full skirt, sparkly bodice, and little cap sleeves. And here, she said, adding details to the sketch, we'll put extra sparkles. Lots and lots of sparkles. Because a girl being celebrated deserves all the sparkle in the world. Lila beamed. It was the happiest I'd seen her since Denise's phone call. When do you need it? Mrs. Patterson asked me. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. She whistled. That's tight. I can pay rush fees. Whatever it takes. She looked at Lila, then at me. You know what? I'm not charging rush fees. Something tells me this dress is more important than money. I'll have it ready. Thank you, I said, my voice thick. Thank you, Lila echoed. As we left the boutique, Lila slipped her hand into mine. Mama? This is the best day ever already. It's just the beginning, baby girl. Just the beginning. But as we walked to the car, I saw my father standing by my driver's side door. And I knew the hard part was just getting started. My father looked older than I remembered. His shoulders slumped under his jacket and his eyes were tired. Daddy, I said carefully. What are you doing here? Lila pressed closer to my side, and I put a protective hand on her shoulder. I needed to talk to you, he said. Away from your mother. If Mama sent you to change my mind. She didn't send me. She doesn't even know I'm here. He looked at Lila and something flickered in his expression. Regret maybe. Or shame. Hey there, Lila. Hi, Grandpa, she said quietly. The word seemed to hit him. He flinched just slightly. Can we talk? He asked. Please? I wanted to say no. I wanted to drive away and not look back. But this was my father, and underneath all the dysfunction and my mother's control, I still loved him. Lila, baby, go sit in the car for a minute, okay? Lock the doors. She nodded and climbed in, watching us through the window. You didn't have to make her leave, Daddy said. I'm not going to say anything bad. Then what are you going to say? He rubbed his face with both hands. Your mother is making this whole wedding into World War III. Denise is crying every day. The whole church is picking sides. And you know Gloria, she's convinced she's right and everyone else is wrong. She's wrong, Daddy. Completely wrong. I know. The words hung in the air between us. You know? I repeated. Then why didn't you say something? Why did you agree with her when she told Denise that Lila couldn't be in the pictures? Because I'm a coward, he said simply. Because 50 years ago, I chose the easy path of just agreeing with your mother instead of fighting her every day. And now I'm stuck in that pattern. And I hate it, Simone. I hate what it's done to this family. I wasn't expecting that. Anger, yes. Excuses, yes. But not honesty. Lila's a good kid, he continued. Smart, kind, creative. She's everything a granddaughter should be. And your mother's treating her like a problem that needs to be solved. Like she's something to be ashamed of. So tell Mama that. I did. He met my eyes. Last night I told her she was wrong. That she was hurting you and hurting that little girl for no good reason. That colorism is just racism wearing a different mask and we should know better. What did she say? She told me I was being disrespectful. That she raised 2 daughters and knows what's best for this family. That you've always been difficult and stubborn and this is just more of the same. He paused. Then she slept in the guest room. Despite everything, I almost laughed. My parents had been married 43 years. I'd never known them to sleep in separate rooms. Good for you, Daddy. For standing up to her. Don't give me too much credit. It took me long enough. He glanced at Lila in the car. She looks scared. She is scared. She's 8 years old and her grandmother made it clear she's not wanted because of how she looks. How's she supposed to feel? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Simone. I should have said something from the beginning. I should have told Gloria to stop this nonsense before it went this far. Yes, you should have. He nodded, accepting that. What can I do now? To make this right? I thought about it. My father showing up and apologizing didn't fix the hurt. It didn't change the fact that Lila had been rejected by her family. But it was something. A small crack in the wall. Come to our party, I said. What party? The party I'm throwing for Lila. Same day as the wedding. A celebration for her with everyone who actually loves her for who she is. Understanding dawned on his face. You're serious about not going to Denise's wedding? Dead serious. I told you I was. And you're throwing a party to compete with it? I'm throwing a party to show my daughter that she matters. That she deserves to be celebrated. That she has family who chooses her, even when blood family doesn't. He was quiet for a long moment. If I come to your party, your mother will lose her mind. Probably. But you just said you stood up to her last night. So stand up to her again. Choose your granddaughter. Choose doing the right thing over keeping peace. She might not forgive me. She might not, I agreed. But at least you'll be able to look at yourself in the mirror. And Lila will know that her grandfather loves her enough to choose her. He looked at Lila again, then back at me. When is it? 3 weeks. Saturday afternoon. Tasha's helping me plan it. It's going to be beautiful. What time? 2 o'clock. Same time as the wedding ceremony. He understood the significance. If he came to my party, he'd miss his youngest daughter walking down the aisle. He'd miss giving her away. He'd miss one of the biggest moments of her life. I need to think about it, he said finally. Disappointment washed through me, but I kept my face neutral. Okay. But Simone? Even if I can't come, and I'm not saying I can't, I want you to know I'm proud of you. For standing up for that little girl. For being the kind of mother who fights for her kid instead of backing down. Your mother and I, we didn't always do right by you and Denise. But you're doing right by Lila. And that matters. My eyes burned. Thank you, Daddy. Can I tell her I'm sorry? Can I talk to her for a minute? I hesitated, then nodded. I opened the car door. Lila, Grandpa wants to talk to you. She climbed out slowly, warily. My father knelt down so he was at her eye level. Hey, sweetheart. I need to tell you something. Your grandmother said some things that were hurtful and wrong. And I didn't speak up when I should have. I let her hurt you and I'm sorry for that. I'm real sorry. Lila's bottom lip trembled. Do you think I'm different too? You are different. You're different because you're special and unique and there's nobody else in the world exactly like you. But different is good, baby girl. Different is what makes you you. Grandma doesn't think so. Grandma's got some old ideas in her head that she needs to let go of. But that's her problem, not yours. Don't you ever think you're not good enough. You hear me? You're more than good enough. You're perfect. A tear rolled down Lila's cheek and my father wiped it away gently. Can I give you a hug? He asked. She nodded and he pulled her close. Over her head he looked at me and I saw tears in his eyes too. When he let her go he stood up. You two take care of each other. We always do, I said. He nodded and walked to his car. We watched him drive away. Is Grandpa coming to our party? Lila asked. I don't know, baby. I hope so. Me too. We got in the car and drove home. Lila was quiet, processing everything. When we pulled into our parking space she finally spoke. Mama? Even if nobody comes to our party it's okay. Because we have each other. I turned to look at her, this wise, resilient little girl who'd been through so much. We do have each other, I said. And that's everything. But as we walked into our building I couldn't help wondering, what if nobody came? What if we threw a party and everyone chose the wedding instead? What if Lila ended up hurt all over again? The next Sunday I took Lila to a different church. I'd been attending Mount Zion Baptist since I was born, same as my parents, same as everyone in the family. But after Mama's phone campaign to every church member she knew, I couldn't face walking through those doors. Couldn't face the whispers and the judgment and people choosing sides. Pastor Helen Brooks ran a smaller church on the east side called Community of Grace. I'd worked with her through the community center on foster care advocacy. She was the kind of woman who spoke truth with love and didn't tolerate foolishness. Lila held my hand as we walked into the modest building. The congregation was maybe 50 people, mixed ages, mixed backgrounds. Nobody stared. Nobody whispered. Pastor Helen saw us from the pulpit and smiled, warm and welcoming. After the service she pulled me aside. Heard you might be looking for a church home, she said. News travels fast. It does when Gloria Carter is involved. Pastor Helen's expression was kind but direct. She called me, you know. Asked me to talk some sense into you. What did you say? I said I'd pray for wisdom for everyone involved. Then I told her maybe she should examine her own heart before she worried about yours. Despite everything I smiled. I bet she loved that. About as much as you'd expect. Pastor Helen looked at Lila, who was coloring at a nearby table with some other kids. How's she doing? Some days are better than others. She understands she's been rejected, but she doesn't understand why. How do you explain colorism to an 8-year-old? Same way you explain any prejudice. You tell them it's not about them, it's about the person doing the rejecting having something broken inside. And you show them that love is bigger than hate, family is bigger than blood, and belonging doesn't require looking a certain way. I'm trying. You're doing more than trying. You're standing up for what's right even when it costs you. That's real faith, Simone. That's what Jesus actually taught. Try telling that to my mother. Oh, I will. Gloria and I have a meeting scheduled for Tuesday afternoon. She doesn't know it yet, but she's about to get a come to Jesus talk about what it means to love like Christ loved, unconditionally and without prejudice. I almost felt sorry for my mother. Almost. Pastor Helen, I'm throwing a party for Lila. Same day as my sister's wedding. It's going to look like I'm trying to sabotage the wedding or be petty. But I just want Lila to feel celebrated. I want her to know she matters. Then that's what you do. And anyone who can't understand that isn't someone you need in your circle anyway. What if nobody comes? Then you have the best party of 2 that anyone's ever seen. But Simone? People will come. You might be surprised who shows up when you give them a chance to do the right thing. Monday morning I started sending out invitations. Tasha helped me make them on her computer, beautiful purple cards with gold lettering that read, "You're invited to celebrate Lila Carter because she's amazing and we love her." No mention of the wedding. No drama. Just a simple celebration. I sent them to cousins, aunts, uncles, family friends, church members from both Mount Zion and Community of Grace, co-workers from the community center, Lila's teachers, and neighbors from our building. 50 invitations total. The responses started coming in by Tuesday afternoon. My cousin Brielle texted first, "I'm there." With bells on. Gloria's wrong and she knows it. Then Aunt Beverly called. About time someone stood up to my sister. Count me in. And I'm bringing my famous pound cake. Tasha's parents RSVP'd yes. So did Patricia from work and 3 other co-workers. Mrs. Patterson from the dress boutique sent a card saying she'd love to attend. Mrs. Ruby from church called and said, Baby, I'll be there and I'm bringing half the choir. But there was silence from others. My mother's best friend. Several cousins on Daddy's side. People I'd known my whole life who apparently valued keeping peace with Gloria over supporting a child. Each non-response felt like a small betrayal. Wednesday evening, Denise called. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Simone, she said, her voice hoarse. We need to talk. I thought we said everything we needed to say. Please. Just hear me out. I sighed. Fine. Talk. I got your invitation. For Lila's party. Okay. You're really doing this? You're really throwing a party the same day as my wedding? Yes, I am. Lila deserves to be celebrated, and if your wedding is the day that won't happen at your reception, then it'll happen somewhere else. That's not fair, Simone. You know how hard I've worked on this wedding. How much planning has gone into it. And now you're trying to sabotage it by pulling people away. I'm not trying to sabotage anything. I'm showing up for my daughter. If people choose to come to her party instead of your wedding, that's their choice. I'm not forcing anyone. But you're making them choose. Don't you see that? You're putting people in an impossible position. No, Denise. Mama put people in an impossible position when she decided Lila wasn't good enough for your family pictures. I'm just responding to that. Silence. I never said she wasn't good enough, Denise said finally, her voice small. You didn't say she was either. You went along with Mama instead of standing up for your niece. That's the same thing. I was trying to keep peace. At what cost? At the cost of an 8-year-old feeling like she doesn't belong in her own family? It's more complicated than that. It's really not. Either you believe Lila is family or you don't. Either she's worthy of being in your wedding pictures or she's not. There's no complicated middle ground here. I heard Denise crying on the other end of the line. I do love her, she said. I love both of you. But Mama's making this so hard, and David's family is already judging everything, and I just wanted one perfect day. Just one day where everything went smoothly and everyone was happy. Life doesn't work like that, Denise. Perfect days don't come from excluding people who make others uncomfortable. They come from being surrounded by people who love you for real. And if David's family is judging your family before they even marry into it, what does that tell you about them? You don't understand. I understand that you're choosing the easy path. And I understand that I can't force you to choose differently. But I can show Lila that I will always choose her. Every single time. What if I came? Denise's voice was barely a whisper. To Lila's party? My heart stopped. What? What if I came to the party instead of having a wedding? Denise, you can't be serious. Your wedding is in 2 weeks. Everything's planned. Paid for. I know. But what if I did anyway? What if I told Mama and David and everyone that I'm not getting married unless Lila is there? Unless everyone can be there? Do you mean that? Or are you just saying it because you feel guilty? Long silence. I don't know, she admitted. I want to mean it. I want to be brave like you. But I'm so scared of disappointing everyone. Of causing a scene. Of ruining everything. Then don't come, I said gently. Not until you're sure. Not until you're ready to stand firm no matter what Mama or David or anyone else says. Because Lila's been hurt enough. She doesn't need false hope. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Simone. I know you are. But sorry doesn't fix this. Action does. When you're ready to act, you let me know. I hung up before she could respond. That night, Lila asked me how many people had said yes to the party. 27 so far, I told her. Her eyes widened. 27? That's a lot. It is a lot. Who's coming? I listed them off: cousins, friends, church members, neighbors. People who'd chosen her over the wedding, chosen love over fear. What about Aunt Denise? She asked. I don't know, baby. Maybe. I hope she comes. Even though she hurt my feelings, I still love her. The simple truth of it broke me. This child had every right to be angry, to hold a grudge, to shut Denise out. But instead, she still had room in her heart for forgiveness. You have a big heart, baby girl, I said. You always tell me that family forgives. That love means giving people chances. I do say that. So if Aunt Denise comes, we should forgive her, right? If she comes and she's really sorry and she means it, then yes. We forgive. Okay. Lila nodded, satisfied. Can I put extra sparkles on my party invitation? The one we hung on the fridge. Absolutely. She got her craft supplies and started decorating, humming to herself, already moving past the hurt. I wished I could do the same. But I was the grown-up. I was the one who had to carry the weight of broken family and disappointment and the fear that this party might still end up hurting my daughter in ways I couldn't fix. All I could do was keep moving forward and pray that doing the right thing would be enough. Denise showed up at my door on Friday night, 1 week before the wedding. Her eyes were red and swollen. Her engagement ring was gone. "I need to stay here," she said. "Just for tonight. Please." I pulled her inside without a word. Lila was already in bed, so we sat in the kitchen with tea. Denise stared at her cup, not drinking, just holding it like she needed something to anchor her. "David and I had a fight," she finally said. "A bad one." "About the wedding?" "About everything. About Mama. About Lila. About his family and their expectations and how I've been bending myself into knots trying to please everyone except myself." "What happened?" She took a shaky breath. "His mother called me this afternoon. Said she heard I was having family trouble and wanted to make sure it wouldn't affect the wedding. Said David's reputation in the community was important and that any drama needed to be handled privately." "Drama?" I repeated flatly. "She meant you. And Lila. And the party you're throwing. Apparently word got around that half our family is going to your party instead of the wedding, and David's family is furious. They think we look divided and dysfunctional." "You are divided." "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for being bigger than me. For having more grace than I deserve." "Mama says family forgives," Lila said simply. And just like that, part of the broken places started to heal. My mother showed up Sunday afternoon while Denise was still at my apartment. I saw her car pull up from the window and felt my stomach drop. "She's here," I told Denise. Denise stood up, squaring her shoulders. "Good. Let her come. You don't have to do this today." "Yes, I do. I've been putting it off long enough." I sent Lila to her room with her tablet, then opened the door before Mama could knock. She looked between me and Denise, her face hard. "So this is where you've been hiding," she said to Denise. "Your fiancé has been calling me nonstop looking for you. He said you called off the wedding." "I postponed it," Denise corrected. "There's a difference." "Postponed it a week before the ceremony? Do you have any idea how much money your father and I have spent? How many people are expecting to see you get married? How embarrassing this is. That's what you're worried about?" Denise's voice was steady. "Embarrassment? Not why I postponed it. I know why you postponed it. Because your sister has been filling your head with nonsense about that child." "Her name is Lila," I interrupted. "And the only person filling Denise's head with anything is you, Mama. Don't you speak to me that way." "No." Denise stepped forward. "No, Mama. Simone gets to speak however she wants. She's been the only one telling the truth while the rest of us have been lying and making excuses." Mama's eyes flashed. "I raised you better than this, Denise Marie. I raised you to respect your elders and honor your family. You raised me to be afraid of disappointing you," Denise shot back. "To care more about what other people think than what's actually right. But I'm done with that. I'm done letting you control my decisions." "Control? I'm your mother. I'm trying to protect you from making mistakes. By telling me to exclude my niece from my wedding? By treating Lila like she's not good enough because of how she looks? That's not protection, Mama. That's prejudice." The word hung in the air like a bomb. Mama's face went red. "I'm not prejudiced. How dare you accuse me of that?" "Then what do you call it?" I asked. "When you tell us Lila can't be in family pictures because she'd stand out? When you talk about her like she's a problem instead of a person? When you refer to her as that child instead of your granddaughter? I call it being practical. I call it understanding that the world judges us by how we look and we need to be careful about the image we present." "To who?" Denise demanded. "To David's family? To the church? To people who are going to judge us no matter what we do?" "Yes, exactly. Do you think this world is kind to black families? Do you think we get second chances? We have to be twice as good, twice as careful. We can't afford to look divided or dysfunctional. But it's okay to be divided and dysfunctional as long as we hide it?" I asked. "As long as we look good in pictures? You don't understand." "No, Mama, you don't understand." Denise's voice broke. "You don't understand that I can't marry David or anyone else while carrying this guilt. While knowing I hurt a child because I was too scared to stand up to you. While being the kind of person who chooses a photo op over her own family." Mama looked like she'd been slapped. "I love you," Denise continued, tears streaming. "I love you so much. But I can't be who you want me to be anymore. I can't pretend that what you said about Lila was okay. It wasn't okay. It was cruel and it was wrong and it hurt people I care about. So that's it. Mama's voice shook. You're choosing them over me? Your own mother? I'm choosing to be a good person. To stand up for what's right. If you can't accept that, then yes, I'm choosing them. The silence was deafening. Mama looked at me, her eyes full of hurt and anger. This is your fault. You've always been the difficult one. Always had to do things your way no matter who it hurt. And now you've turned your sister against me. I didn't turn anyone against you, I said quietly. You did that yourself when you decided your prejudices were more important than your family. Prejudices. She laughed bitterly. I don't have prejudices. I have standards. I have pride in how we present ourselves to the world. Standards that exclude an 8-year-old because she's lighter skinned than you wanted her to be? That's not standards, Mama. That's colorism. That's internalized racism. That's the same thing that's been hurting black families for generations, and you're perpetuating it. Don't you lecture me about what hurts black families. I've lived through things you can't imagine. I've fought battles you'll never know about. And I've done everything to make sure you and your sister had better than I did. You did give us better, Denise said. You gave us education and opportunity and love. But you also gave us your fears. Your need to be acceptable to people who will never fully accept us anyway. And I'm done living under that. Mama's face crumpled. For the first time she looked old and lost. So what am I supposed to do, she asked. Just accept that my youngest daughter is postponing her wedding? That half my family is going to some party instead of the ceremony I've been planning for a year? That everyone is going to talk about what a mess we are? You could start, I said gently, by apologizing to Lila. By acknowledging that what you said was hurtful and wrong. By choosing to do better going forward. Apologize to a child? To your granddaughter? Yes. Mama shook her head. I don't even know who you two are anymore. We're your daughters, Denise said. We're just finally becoming the people you raised us to be, people who stand up for what's right, even when it's hard. Mama stood there for a long moment, looking between us. I could see the war happening in her eyes, pride fighting with regret, anger fighting with love. I need to go, she finally said. Mama, Denise started. No. I need to think. I just need to go. She turned and walked to the door. Before she left, she looked back. For what it's worth, she said quietly, I never meant to hurt anyone. I thought I was protecting this family. Protecting our reputation. I thought I was doing the right thing. But you weren't, I said. And until you can admit that, we can't move forward. She left without another word. The door clicked shut behind her and Denise collapsed onto the couch, sobbing. I sat beside her and held her while she cried. Did I do the right thing? She asked. Did I just ruin everything? You did the right thing. You finally did the right thing. But what if she never forgives me? What if I've lost my mother over this? Then you've lost someone who was asking you to be less than you are. And that's her loss, not yours. It doesn't feel like her loss. It feels like mine. I know, baby sister. I know. We sat there together, both of us crying, both of us grieving the family we thought we had and trying to figure out how to build something better from the broken pieces. After a while, Lila came out of her room. Is Grandma gone? She asked quietly. Yeah, baby. She's gone. Lila climbed onto the couch between us. Was she mad? She was confused and hurt and scared, I said. Sometimes people act mean when they're really just scared. Are you scared, Mama? I thought about it. A little. But I'm also proud. Proud of myself, proud of your aunt, proud of us for doing the hard thing. What's the hard thing? Standing up for what's right, even when people we love don't understand. Lila nodded seriously. Then she looked at Denise. Are you still going to get married? Someday, Denise said. When I'm ready. When I'm sure I'm marrying someone who will stand with me through hard things. But not next Saturday. So we can all come to my party? We can all come to your party. Good. Lila smiled. Because Mama said there's going to be cake. And I want you to have some. And just like that, a child's simple wisdom reminded us what actually mattered. Not weddings or pictures or what people thought. Just love. And cake. And choosing each other. The days leading up to Lila's party were a whirlwind of phone calls, text messages, and unexpected support. Pastor Helen called Monday morning. Gloria came to see me yesterday, she said. She's struggling, Simone. Really struggling. I'm sure she is. Don't be cold. I know she hurt you, but that woman is facing things she's buried for 50 years. That's not easy. I sighed. What did she say? She told me about the conversation with you and Denise. About how her daughters are choosing that child, her words, not mine, over her. About how the family is falling apart and it's all your fault. Of course it is. I let her talk for about 20 minutes. Then I asked her if she remembered the story of the Good Samaritan. She said of course she did. So I asked her which person in that story she thought she was. What did she say? She said the person who stopped to help, obviously. And I said no, Gloria. Right now, you're the people who walked past the wounded man because stopping would have been inconvenient. Because it would have made them look bad or slowed them down or complicated their day. I could picture Mama's face at that. She must have loved that. She got up to leave. But before she reached the door, I told her something else. I told her that her granddaughter is having a party this Saturday to celebrate being loved and worthy. And that she has a choice. She can show up and prove she's capable of loving beyond her own prejudices, or she can stay away and confirm everything her daughters already believe about her. Is she coming? I don't know. But I planted the seed. What grows from it is up to her. That afternoon, my father showed up at the community center where I worked. Patricia buzzed me. Your dad's in the lobby. I found him sitting on one of the worn couches, turning his hat in his hands. Daddy? What are you doing here? I'm coming to Lila's party, he said without preamble. I wanted you to know. I'm not missing it. My throat tightened. What about the wedding? There is no wedding. Denise officially postponed it this morning. She and David are going to counseling to figure out if they can make it work, but either way there's no ceremony Saturday. So I'm free. He met my eyes. And even if there was a wedding, I'd choose Lila's party. I need you to know that. What about Mama? Your mother and I are sleeping in separate rooms still. We're barely speaking. But I told her this morning that I'm going to our granddaughter's party, and if she has a problem with that, she can take it up with me. Not you. Me. Daddy. No, let me finish. I should have said this weeks ago. I should have stood up to Gloria the minute she said Lila couldn't be in the pictures. I should have put my foot down. But I didn't. I took the coward's way out. So I'm saying it now, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of how you fought for that little girl. And I'm going to be there Saturday supporting both of you. I hugged him tight, this man who'd finally found his courage. Thank you, I whispered. No thank you. For showing me what real strength looks like. Wednesday, Aunt Beverly called. Baby girl, I need you to do me a favor. What's that, Aunt Bev? I need you to save me a seat right next to Lila at this party. Front and center. Because I'm not just coming, I'm making an entrance. And I'm bringing my famous mac and cheese that Gloria's always jealous of. I laughed despite myself. You don't have to. Oh, I absolutely do. Gloria's been calling everyone in the family, trying to paint you as the villain in all this. And I've been calling everyone right back, setting the record straight. That child deserves to be celebrated, and anyone who can't see that is blind and foolish. Present company included. How's Mama taking that? About as well as you'd expect. She told me I'm disloyal. I told her I'm loyal to truth, not to her delusions. We haven't spoken since. But I've got cousins, nieces, nephews, all kinds of people who are choosing Lila's party over Gloria's pride. You just wait. Saturday's going to be beautiful. By Thursday, the RSVP list had grown to 43 people. 43 people choosing love over obligation, truth over comfort, a child celebration over avoiding drama. Tasha showed me the final numbers while we were confirming with the caterer. This is more than I expected, she said. Way more. You realize this is bigger than most of the gatherings your family normally has. I know. People are making a statement. They're saying what Gloria did was wrong and they're standing with you. Or they're coming for free food and cake. Simone, give people some credit. They're coming because they believe in what you're doing. Because they want Lila to know she matters. I wanted to believe that. I wanted to believe people were better than my cynicism suggested. Friday afternoon, I picked up Lila's dress from Mrs. Patterson's boutique. When she brought it out, I gasped. It was more beautiful than I'd imagined. The deep purple shimmered in the light, and sparkles caught the sun from every angle. The skirt was full and princess perfect, and there were little details everywhere, tiny flowers embroidered at the waist, a satin ribbon that tied in back, cap sleeves with more sparkles. Mrs. Patterson, this is what that baby deserves, she said firmly. Every little girl should get to feel like a princess at least once. Especially little girls who've been told they don't quite fit. How much do I owe you? Already paid for. What? No, I didn't pay yet. Your Aunt Beverly came by yesterday. Said she was taking care of it. Said it was her way of apologizing for not standing up sooner. My eyes filled with tears. She didn't have to do that. She wanted to. Said family takes care of family, and it's about time someone in your family acted like it. I carefully packed the dress in its protective bag and drove home. When I showed Lila, she screamed with joy. Can I try it on? Please, please, please? Not until tomorrow. We need to keep it perfect. But I want to see. You will see. Tomorrow. When everyone's here to see how beautiful you look. She pouted but accepted it. Then she asked, Mama? Are a lot of people coming? 43 so far. Her eyes went wide. 43? That's almost everyone in my class. That's a lot of people who love you, baby girl. Is Grandma coming? The question I'd been dreading. I don't know. She hasn't said. Oh. Lila's face fell a little. I hope she comes. I want her to see my dress. Me too, baby. Me too. That night I couldn't sleep. Tomorrow was the day. Tomorrow we'd find out if this party was everything I'd promised or if it would somehow fall short. Tomorrow we'd see who showed up and who stayed away. Tomorrow Lila would either feel celebrated and loved, or she'd feel the absence of the people who chose not to come. I got up around midnight and found Denise on my couch, unable to sleep either. Hey, I said. Hey. We sat in the dark together. Are you nervous? She asked. Terrified. Why? Everything's planned. The venue is beautiful. The food is ordered. The dress is perfect. What could go wrong? What if Mama shows up and ruins everything? Or what if she doesn't show up and Lila is heartbroken? What if people come but it's awkward? What if this whole thing is a mistake? Simone. Denise took my hand. This isn't a mistake. This is the bravest thing you've ever done. You're showing Lila that she's worth fighting for. That she's worth celebrating. That love doesn't require looking a certain way or meeting certain standards. That's not a mistake. That's everything. When did you get so wise? When I almost lost everything because I was too scared to be wise. We sat there until dawn, two sisters who'd finally figured out what mattered. And as the sun rose on Saturday morning, I said a prayer. Please let this day be everything Lila deserves. Please let her feel loved. Please let this be enough. Saturday morning, I woke Lila up with pancakes shaped like hearts. Today's the day, she squealed, bouncing in her chair. Today's the day, baby girl. Can I put on my dress now? After breakfast. We've got to get you fed first. She ate faster than I'd ever seen, practically inhaling pancakes and orange juice. Denise and I got ready together while Lila watched cartoons. When it was time, we helped her into the dress. The moment she saw herself in the mirror, she gasped. Mama, I look like a princess. You look like a queen, I corrected. She twirled, watching the skirt spin out around her, sparkles catching the light. Her face was pure joy. Can I show Aunt Denise? She's right here, baby. Denise had tears running down her face. Lila, you're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. Really? Really, really? We took pictures, the three of us together, Lila by herself, Lila with each of us separately. My heart felt so full it might burst. At 1:30 we drove to the venue. Tasha had transformed it into something magical. Purple and gold balloons everywhere. Tables with sparkly tablecloths. A huge banner that read Lila Carter, celebrated and loved. Fresh flowers on every surface. Tasha, I breathed. This is incredible. Only the best for our girl. She crouched down to Lila's level. What do you think, Miss Lila? Is it okay? It's perfect. Lila threw her arms around Tasha's neck. Thank you. You're welcome, baby. Now people are going to start arriving soon. You ready to be celebrated? Lila nodded, practically vibrating with excitement. The first guests arrived at 1:45. Aunt Beverly, carrying her famous mac and cheese and wearing a bright purple outfit that matched Lila's dress. Where's my favorite great-niece? She called. Lila ran to her and Aunt Beverly scooped her up. Look at you. Looking like royalty. Girl, that dress is everything. More people trickled in. Cousins. Church members from Community of Grace. Mrs. Ruby and half the choir, just like she'd promised. Co-workers from the community center. Lila's teacher, Mrs. Chin. Neighbors from our building. Each person brought gifts, stuffed animals, art supplies, books, gift cards. Lila's eyes kept getting bigger and bigger. Mama, are all these people really here for me? Every single one of them, baby. By 2:15 the venue was packed. More than 43 people had shown up. Some came who hadn't even RSVP'd, they just heard about it and decided to come anyway. My father arrived at 2:20, looking nervous but determined. He found Lila and hugged her tight. Happy celebration day, princess. Thanks, Grandpa. Are you staying? I'm staying as long as you want me here. Forever. He laughed. Forever sounds about right. Pastor Helen arrived and immediately started organizing people for pictures. Everyone who loves Lila, gather round. Let's document this beautiful day. We took photos with everyone, big group shots, small family clusters, Lila with each person individually. Her smile never faded. She glowed. The caterer brought out food at 2:30. Fried chicken, mac and cheese, collard greens, cornbread, potato salad. Soul food that filled the air with comfort and home. People ate and laughed and talked. Kids ran around playing. Music played, a mix of gospel and R&B and Lila's favorite songs. At 3 o'clock, Tasha called for everyone's attention. We're going to do something special now. Everyone who wants to say something to Lila about why they're here, you can come up and share. One by one, people stood up. Aunt Beverly went first. I'm here because this child is family, and family means everybody. No exceptions. Mrs. Ruby from church. I'm here because every child deserves to know they're loved exactly as they are. Patricia from work. I'm here because Simone showed me what it means to fight for what's right, even when it costs you. Cousin Brielle. I'm here because Lila makes the world brighter just by being in it. On and on it went. 43 people, each one sharing why Lila mattered to them. Why they chose to be here. Why they believed in love over prejudice. Lila sat in her chair, tears streaming down her face, overwhelmed by how much she was loved. When everyone had spoken, Denise stood up. I'm here because I almost made the biggest mistake of my life. I almost let fear and other people's opinions matter more than this amazing kid. But Lila and Simone taught me that real strength is standing up for love, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. So I'm here to tell Lila that I see her, I love her, and I'm never going to let anyone make her feel less than again. She sat down, crying, and I squeezed her hand. Then my father stood. I'm here because I wasted too many years being quiet when I should have been loud. But I'm not quiet anymore. Lila, you're my granddaughter, and I'm proud to say that to anyone who'll listen. I love you, baby girl. And I'm sorry it took me so long to show it the right way. He sat down and Lila ran to him, climbing into his lap. I love you too, Grandpa. The moment was perfect, and then the door opened. My mother walked in. The room went silent. She stood there in the doorway, looking around at all the people, all the decorations, all the love filling the space. Her eyes found Lila, still sitting in my father's lap, wearing that beautiful purple dress with sparkles everywhere. For a long moment, nobody moved. Then Mama walked forward slowly. She stopped in front of Lila. I'm sorry I'm late, she said quietly. Lila looked at her, uncertain. Mama knelt down and I saw tears in her eyes. Lila, baby, I need to tell you something. I was wrong. So wrong. I said hurtful things and made you feel like you didn't belong. But you do belong. You belong in this family, in pictures, in weddings, everywhere. You belong because you're you, and you're wonderful exactly as you are. Really? Lila's voice was small. Really? And I'm sorry it took me so long to see it. I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry I let old, ugly ideas live in my head instead of seeing what was right in front of me, a beautiful, sweet, amazing granddaughter who deserved better from me. Do you mean it? For real? For real, baby. I mean it with everything I have. Lila looked at me, asking permission with her eyes. I nodded. She climbed out of my father's lap and hugged my mother. Mama wrapped her arms around her and held on tight, crying openly now. I love you, she whispered. I love you so much, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life proving it. The room erupted in applause. People were crying, cheering, hugging each other. It felt like something broken had finally been made whole. Mama stood up, still holding Lila's hand, and looked at me. Simone, Not now, I said gently. Today's about Lila. You and me can talk later. She nodded, understanding. For the next 2 hours, the party continued. We had cake, a massive purple creation with sparkles and flowers. We danced. We took more pictures. We celebrated. And my mother stayed for all of it. She sat with Lila. She apologized to Denise. She talked quietly with my father. She thanked people for coming. She even approached Pastor Helen and said, You were right. About all of it. At 5 o'clock, as people started to leave, Lila found me. Mama, this was the best day of my whole life. Yeah, baby? Yeah. Better than my birthday. Better than Disney World. Better than anything. Why? She thought about it. Because everyone came and said nice things. And Grandma said she loves me. And I got to wear a princess dress. And I got to feel like I matter. You do matter, baby girl. You've always mattered. I know. But today I could feel it. Like really feel it. I pulled her close, this wise, beautiful child who'd been through so much and still had room in her heart for forgiveness. I love you more than anything in this world, I told her. I love you more than sparkles, she said. Coming from Lila, that was everything. Sunday morning, Mama called and asked if she could take Lila to church. To Mount Zion? I asked. No. To Pastor Helen's church. Community of Grace. If that's where you're going now, I'd like to come with you. All of us together. I looked at Lila, who nodded eagerly. Okay. We'll pick you up at 9:30. When we arrived at my parents' house, both Mama and Daddy were waiting on the porch. Mama was wearing a purple scarf, Lila's favorite color. The drive to church was quiet but not uncomfortable. Lila held Mama's hand in the back seat. At Community of Grace, Pastor Helen welcomed us with knowing eyes and a warm smile. Good morning, Carter family. Good to see all of you together. The service was beautiful. The message was about restoration and forgiveness and choosing love over fear. Mama cried through most of it. Afterward, she asked if we could talk. We sat in a quiet corner while Lila played with other kids in the fellowship hall. I need to explain, Mama started. You don't know me. Yes, I do. Let me say this. She took a breath. When I was growing up, being light-skinned was considered better. It meant opportunities. It meant being treated differently. And being dark-skinned meant? Well, it meant facing prejudices I can't even fully explain. So somewhere in my head, I internalized this idea that lighter is better. That it makes life easier. She paused, wiping her eyes. But then you adopted Lila. And she's lighter than all of us. And instead of seeing that as neutral or seeing her as just a child who needs love, I saw it as complicated. I worried people would judge us. Judge you for adopting outside our race. Judge her for being different. And I let those worries turn into something ugly. Colorism, I said. Yes, colorism. I didn't want to admit it because admitting it meant admitting I'd become the kind of person I used to fight against. The kind of person who judges people by skin shade instead of character. And that's exactly what I did to Lila. Yes, you did. I know. And I can't take it back. I can't undo the hurt I caused. But I can do better going forward. I can show her and you that I'm capable of growth. Of change. Of being the grandmother she deserves. I looked at my mother, really looked at her. She seemed smaller somehow. Humbled. Genuine. How do I know this isn't temporary? I asked. How do I know that the next time things get uncomfortable or people talk, you won't fall back into old patterns? You don't, she admitted. You'll just have to watch me prove it. Day by day. Choice by choice. That's all I can offer. I thought about Lila's easy forgiveness. Her ability to see the good in people even when they'd hurt her. Okay, I said. We'll take it day by day. Relief washed over Mama's face. Thank you. Thank you for giving me another chance. I'm not just giving it to you. I'm giving it to Lila. Because she deserves to have a grandmother who loves her right. She does. And I will. I promise. Later that afternoon, Denise came over with David. We wanted to talk to you, Denise said. Both of you. Lila went to her room to give us privacy. David spoke first. I owe you an apology, Simone. When Denise told me about the situation with Lila and the wedding, I should have backed her up immediately. Instead, I worried about appearances and my family's opinions. That was wrong. Thank you for saying that. We're postponing the wedding indefinitely, Denise added. Maybe 6 months, maybe a year. We're going to counseling to make sure we're on the same page about what matters. About family and values and how we handle conflict. That sounds smart. And when we do get married, David continued, Lila will be front and center. In every picture. Standing right there with us. No question. She'll like that. We should have done that from the beginning, Denise said. I should have done that. I'm still sorry, Simone. For all of it. I know. And I forgive you. We're moving forward. She hugged me tight. Thank you. For not giving up on me. For showing me what real strength looks like. That's what sisters do. Over the next few weeks, things slowly healed. Mama came to dinner every Sunday. She brought Lila gifts, art supplies, books, a journal with purple sparkles on the cover. She asked about school and friends and listened when Lila talked about her latest drawings. She also apologized to others. To Aunt Beverly for calling her disloyal. To Pastor Helen for being stubborn. To people at church who'd taken sides. My father started coming to Lila's school events. He taught her how to ride a bike without training wheels. He took her fishing one Saturday and came back with stories about her catching 3 fish to his 1. Denise and David's counseling was going well. They set a new wedding date for the following spring, plenty of time to build a foundation based on honesty and shared values. And Lila? She bloomed. She wore her purple dress to school for show and tell and told everyone about her celebration party. She drew pictures of all the people who came. She wrote thank you notes in her best handwriting. One night as I tucked her into bed, she asked, "Mama, why did you fight so hard for me?" "Because you're worth fighting for. But you made your family mad. You made everything complicated. Some things are worth the complication, baby. And you're worth everything. What if I hadn't been worth it? What if I'd been bad or mean or not special? Then I still would have fought for you. Because love isn't about someone being perfect. It's about choosing them anyway. It's about standing up and saying, this person matters to me, and I won't let anyone treat them as less than they are." She thought about that. "I want to be like you when I grow up. You can be even better. You already are in a lot of ways." "How?" "You forgive faster than I do. You love bigger. You see good in people even when they've hurt you. Those are special gifts, Lila. Don't ever lose them." She hugged me tight. "I won't. I promise." 3 months later, on a crisp October afternoon, we had a family photo shoot. Not for a wedding or a special occasion. Just because. All of us, me, Lila, Mama, Daddy, Denise, David, Aunt Beverly, and a few cousins gathered at a park near my apartment. The photographer took pictures for 2 hours. Every possible combination of people. Groups and pairs and individuals. And in every single photo, Lila was front and center, smiling bright, her purple dress with sparkles catching the autumn light. When the photos came back, Mama framed one and hung it in her living room pride of place, right over the mantel. It showed all of us together, arms around each other, smiling for real. And right in the middle, holding Mama's hand on one side and mine on the other, was Lila. Exactly where she belonged.